Guys, today we got Nike getting sued by a corner store. What is happening to Pharrell and Adidas? And everything we buy is getting worse on purpose. Welcome to Sneaky Sunday. We got some pretty damn interesting stuff to get into today, but first, let's talk about Adidas. I'm locking in for this one. First up, we got yet another version of the Evo SL. This makes it number 1 million at this point. This is the zipper version, which we have seen leaks about for a very long time now. They have officially released at a bunch of different retailers, including Adidas. I've yet to test these things out. I did order a pair, and I'm interested to see if this is an improvement or if they're just making a random other version. I've got to say, they look pretty cool, and honestly, I've been impressed so far with all of the different versions of the Evo SL. I really thought that I would be fatigued by it all, but some of them are actually better than the original, so I'm not mad. We got a firm release date on the Hyperboost Euphoria, which is dropping on July the 23rd. I did a review on these things. They are genuinely phenomenal, but of course, if you want to check that video out, just I'll leave it in the description. Bunch of different colorways dropping. These are going to retail for, I believe, $170. And there is two versions of this shoe. There's this 3D printed side panel one, and then there's also like a mesh version, which is a lot more affordable, $110. We've got this triple white one. We've got a triple black pair, and honestly, they're very good looking. I think it's a solid sneaker. But moving to Pharrell and Adidas, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So as you guys know, we're getting this colorway of the Jellyfish sneaker on July the 15th. It's something that we've been speaking about, so just kind of want to remind you of that. But we also just got official images of yet another colorway that they're going to be dropping this year. This is kind of like a brownish one that we saw Pharrell wearing, brown and yellow to be exact, $300, and these should be dropping later down the line, because if we have official images, a release for these should be right around the corner. Nothing penciled in, but yeah, another colorway from an extremely successful collaboration. Or is it? Because while this sneaker gets all of the hype, some of the other ones haven't been. This is the latest collaboration from Adidas and Pharrell called the Watermoc, or the Starfish shoe. It's definitely different, and I don't know exactly if these are going to be what people really wanted from this collab. Maybe they would have wanted something kind of similar to the Jellyfish, considering the success of that. But these are completely left field. It's a water shoe that they did this whole like campaign about on the beach, and it's like heavily marketed towards like you wearing them to the beach. I don't think that they look terrible, but I also think that they're quite niche. Like, will people really wear these with like a whole outfit just, you know, not in the water? It's yet to be seen. Either way, these are going to launch officially through, I assume, Adidas and a bunch of different retailers in September. The reception of these hasn't been that great, but you know what has been even worse is the Earthbender from Pharrell and Adidas. These things have got people like, they genuinely don't like this pair of shoes. So is this whole collaboration just kind of going downhill after the success of the Jellyfish? Can they put out something that, you know, has similar hype to that? It's a little bit annoying to see, because I remember seeing a picture teased from Pharrell where it had the Jellyfish and then the outsole of a bunch of other shoes, and I was assuming it'd kind of be similar to what they did with the Jellyfish, where it'd be like a couple different versions of that, but they've gone completely different with these. And honestly, I'm not a fan of this pair of shoes. Like, when you see them on foot, they do just kind of look a little bit awkward, like weird slippers. I mean, it's not the worst, and I get obviously the whole idea behind the low profile shoe trend, which is happening right now, but I just don't think people are really feeling these. But let me know if I'm wrong about that. Do you like this pair of shoes and the Watermoc? Let me know down in the comments. And ending it on a high note for Adidas, it was just revealed that the Mexico jersey is the best selling football jersey worldwide. So obviously, as the World Cup continues, Mexico seems to be dominating in the support category. This I did not see coming, but I gotta be honest, like, regardless of if you're a fan of Mexico or not, you cannot deny this is a great looking kit. But also the popularity and the fact that this is the #1 best-selling kit is not all to do with just it being good looking. Like, there is a ton of amazing support for the Mexican team. Like, you watch a Mexico game in their home stadium, it is crazy. While Adidas is winning, Nike is struggling a little bit, specifically in the World Cup. We've got some stats on how Adidas is edging Nike in World Cup sales for, I assume, a lot of their kits and their different merch type things, you know, sneakers and stuff like that. that. We've got Adidas sponsoring 14 teams, Nike only 12. Adidas is spending more, and this article goes into a lot of the data. We're not going to get too much into that. It's just interesting to see where we're at now, where it's like Nike can't catch a break. Nike just had another earnings report where it shows that they're still really struggling out in China. In fact, I think some of the sales have gone down like double digits. Nike's China sales have slumped to 17%, and they expect that to continue to decline in the first half of the fiscal 2027 year. Now, here's a couple different stats for how they're comparing in China against other brands like Adidas and Puma. Puma, interestingly, is doing very well. This is all based on their stock price. So yeah, I mean, it's just an ongoing struggle for Nike, and we're yet to see them turn things around in a really meaningful way. One thing Nike has been doing really well is their partnership with Travis Scott. They dropped a banger World Cup collaboration with Travis Scott's merch looking like some of the best I've seen. Some of these shirts look sick. So they've got this, it's like a Nike Travis Scott type collaboration where they're doing all of these different jerseys. They got the Haaland one over here. They've got Mbappe. They've got so many different ones, even some older legends like Ronaldinho. And this is just sick to see. It's really got that Travis Scott like DNA in it. The only issue with all of this, and it's a pretty big one, is that all of these are pre-orders, meaning you're only going to get this jersey after the World Cup. Like this one ships in 10 to 12 weeks. Regardless, there's a ton of different items on here which are relatively expensive for some of them. Like some of these jerseys are what, like $130? But yeah, they look sick. That's the point. Moving on to some releases that are right around the corner or happening this month. First one up, we got the Jordan 4 comic. We have spoke about these quite a few times, but now we've got a penciled in release date, which is July the 25th. These things are looking real nice. Honestly, I thought when I first saw the leaks of these things that it was just going to be GS, but they're going to drop in full family sizing, at least according to this. And here are the official images. I think this is really well done. Like, I like these things. SHAI and Converse are going to be dropping some more sneakers before, you know, obviously now that SHAI is part of Nike instead of Converse, before this whole thing ends. We got the Slither, which is a snakeskin pair. These are going to be dropping on July the 14th. Not bad, but there's been better colorways, so it's not like I'm going crazy for these. What is interesting is that they may be dropping a shroudless version, or just one without the zippers on it. So we've got like this photo of SHAI wearing these things to a game, or at least a warm-up, and yeah, they look pretty sick without the shroud on the top. I don't know if I necessarily prefer it, but maybe it's just the colorway throwing me off, but I think it could be a cool little switch to have shoes like this. Like, look at these ones with the freaking, what is that, leopard print on there? That's pretty wild. But there's even a triple black one without the zipper as well, which kind of looks cool too. Either way, a release for the laced version or the non-zipper version has not been announced, so we'll just have to wait and see on these. But one of the biggest drops happening this month has got to be the True Blue Jordan 3, and OG returns on July the 18th. So here are the official images, and it may be a little bit hard to see some of the little subtle differences of this pair to the previous version. So Soul Retriever did a little comparison. So here you've got like a side-by-side of the 2026 pair versus the 2016 pair. Like, aside from shape, there does seem to be a difference with the blue color. It seems a little bit more dark on the 2016 pair. The tongue is also slightly different, with the leather kind of covering up that red a lot more, so you won't really be able to see it from like the front, whereas like this 2016 version, you could see it. Heel tab, very slightly different. Elephant print, just barely. Color difference to me is the biggest switch up. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about these down in the comment section. Do you prefer the new one, or do you prefer the 2016 pair? But let's talk about one of the wildest developments this week, and that is Nike getting sued by 7-Eleven. That's right. On July the 1st, 7-Eleven filed a lawsuit against Nike for this sneaker right over here, the Air Max 95 Big Bubble. And even though the shoe itself doesn't have any 7-Eleven branding, it's not an official collaboration, obviously with a colorway like this, Nike is heavily leaning into the implied connection. So in fact, they created kind of a pack of 7-Eleven and Lawson, which, if you didn't know, are two extremely popular convenience stores out in Japan. Well, at least 7-Eleven is kind of global, but you know, these two are mainly associated to Japan, specifically Lawson. Now, as with any lawsuit, obviously it's extremely complicated and there's a lot that goes into this, but essentially 7-Eleven wants these things to be removed completely, and they actually want the shoes themselves to be destroyed. And it's interesting because they also claim that someone, or at least one person, has already purchased these before the 7-Eleven release date, which of course is July the 11th. So they want that pair to be recalled. sold, and then they won obviously some money because of damages. And the craziest part is that Nike actually removed these from the release calendar. So they were loaded up again for July 17th for $200. Here you can see proof, there's a screenshot, but now they're gone. So it could just be a caution thing. Nike has not put out an official statement or anything like that, but this is a very common thing for Nike to do, and I honestly at this point think it's just a lot of marketing. They release a pair of shoes without the branding of something, like the Heineken Dunks or the Freddy Krueger Dunks. The colorway is heavily implied, and they just allow all of the different sneaker outlets and news pages to call it whatever it is, like the Heinekens, the Freddy Kruegers, or in this case, the 7-Elevens. That association basically gets Nike the collaboration without infringing or having to split profits with an actual collaborator. And it also works heavily in their favor because the resale prices always skyrocket. Oftentimes projects like this, they only have like a tiny release, or somehow resellers get their hands on these things and they become one of those like iconic moments that we look back on from years in the future. They did this with the 2020 at the Tokyo Olympics dunks as well. These could just be delayed. They could have another release once this lawsuit gets cleared up, or if Nike gets through it, or I don't know what the outcome will be. We will see. As of right now, it's looking like these things are cooked, and we'll probably see them in resellers' hands somehow for like thousands. Here's another great example of exactly what I was talking about. This is the Ghostface inspired Nike Air Force One for Halloween. So this is a full 2026 release, and I actually really like the look of these things. So they should be dropping, you know, around October 31st, Halloween, and they look sick. Like, this looks like a really cool pair of sneakers regardless of the Ghostface Halloween association. But you can also see that Nike is just completely happy with a lot of these pages and different news places calling them exactly what they would, like a Ghostface collab, but it's not. So you can see you've got like even the telephone as the lace debray, very, very subtle, but that is heavily implied. This looks like it's going to be a dot swoosh release, so probably some kind of pre-order potentially. We'll have to wait and see, but honestly, I'm here for these. I think these things look so dope. But yeah, as soon as we get a firm release date, I'll let you know. Sticking with forces, Nike is going to be dropping a little Kobe pack right around the corner on August the 1st. These two shoes over here, all grayscaled with different accent colors. We've got a lime green and a subtle blue, which is actually really nice with the gray. Also, at some point this year, Nike is dropping a fashionista pair of Nike Shox, where it's basically upgraded with premium leather and also has that, I don't know what you call this. What is the, it's really just escaping my mind. It's called like the freaking, I don't know, we called this type of shoe a grasshopper back in SA, but I can't remember what the name is. Either way, it's like a heavily, you know, fashion-orientated dress shoe type thing on a Shox model, which is pretty wild. I think they kind of look pretty cool. Not something I would personally wear, but I could see the appeal. These are going to be dropping at some point during fall. Let me know what you think down in the comments. We just got official images of the Jordan 5 Sunset finally returning 20 years later. Now we've got a release date, which is going to be August the 25th. So House of Heat is not giving us an exact date, but it also says over here September 25th. So I assume around that time, just expect them for $215 fall 2026. These are the official images. So this is exactly what they're going to look like. They're going to come in that Jordan retro box that we've seen ever since I think the Lakers 4s or something. They're bringing that box back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, nice pair of shoes. Nothing crazy. Not personally one that I'm super excited about, but let me know what you think down in the comments. You going for these? Westside Gunn just teased another kind of Spider-Man Saucony collaboration, which I think looks pretty cool. So this is the Omni 9, and last time we took a look at, I think, a red colorway with black accents. Now this one is kind of like an alternate colorway. It's blue with red accents. And now that we've seen both of these, it looks like it'll be a little Spider-Man pack. According to Westside Gunn, he says he may release both pairs, one pair or neither pair. So he's kind of just saying that, you know, I'm not confirming anything, but it is most likely that we'll see a release of these. I mean, they would go so hard. I guess it just kind of depends whether they've got the rights to put this out, or whoever currently owns the rights to Spider-Man would come after Saucony and Westside Gunn for the release of this sneaker. Either way, I think these look sick, and I do hope that he releases both of them because I like these things. But one of the wildest stories this week is all about Jordan prices, or not just Jordan prices, it's shrinkflation across the board. This post was made by Z Sneakerheads and got people pretty alarmed. The new Space Jam Air Jordan 11s dropping later on this year are going to retail for $255. And just to put that into perspective, last year's Air Jordan 11 retailed for $235, which was already an increase from 2016, which was $220, and 2009 all the way down at $175. So that is a rapid increase. Now keep in mind, this is exactly the same shoe. In fact, some people will argue that Nike and Jordan Brand's quality has been declining while prices have been going up. I haven't seen a direct comparison between like a 2009 pair and a 2026 pair to really determine that as fact, but there is some evidence with other shoes that we've seen. But this shrinkflation topic doesn't just correlate to Jordan Brand, it's also kind of the entire fashion world. We got this post talking about how a Stone Island jersey cost 140 pounds in 2018. Today, it's $280. And then outside of sneakers and fashion, this is where things get even crazier because Apple just put up prices to a pretty insane, like if you look at some of the price increases, it's insane. I think this is mostly in the US, but here's a list of all of the different products that Apple sells and how much they went up in price. Some of them as much as what, like 54% if this is true. An Apple TV was $130, now it's $200. Mac Studio M3, 4K, now $299, is that? All of these different products have gone up in price, and they're talking about, is this temporary because I think there's a chip shortage, or at least according to this, it's because of the cost of chips and the AI boom. But man, I think historically speaking, once prices go up, they very rarely go back down. But bringing it back to sneakers, I thought this post was extremely interesting and kind of put all of this in context. This is a post by Soul Savvy talking about the price of sneakers versus the rate of inflation, which, because take a look at this. We've got a bunch of different Jordans or different sneakers as an example. So this is the price increase from 1988 to 2024. You can see 120% rose in price, but the rate of inflation was 165%. So they actually managed to keep that below. From 2006 to 2026, so 20 years in this, the same pair of New Balances cost $200 in 2026 compared to $150 in 2006. Again, the price increase lower than inflation. That's not the case for Jordan 1s. $250 versus $65 in 1985. So that is 200% rate of inflation, 285% price increase. Air Maxes kept that increase below. So yeah, good amount of Jordans that are over the rate of inflation. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about all of this down in the comment section. It just seems like the prices of sneakers and generally fashion are getting so uncomfortably high and rising so quickly. It's getting pretty scary. Drop your thoughts down in the comment section, but that's about it for this week's Sneaky Sunday. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way you can always stay up to date with the latest news. And like always, I'm going to leave another video in the top left-hand corner. Click on it to check it out.